Welcome to our tutorial video aimed at helping UCR student organizations acquire sponsorships from local businesses. To understand why we're covering this, let's zoom out for a second and look at fundraising in general and the types of fundraisers that student orgs can do. We have low effort, low yield fundraisers, such as going to a restaurant and getting a percentage of the profits. This is easy to do, but isn't going to result in massive amounts for your group. We have high effort, low yield fundraisers, such as the risky food sale, where you set up near the bell tower and try to sell food. It's a lot of work, requires a lot of people, and there's a chance that you might just break even. Some groups see success, but just as many groups struggle to make their investment back. Then we have high effort, high yield fundraisers, such as creating merchandise for your org to sell. It's a lot of work to design and order t-shirts, for example, but you might be able to charge twice the cost, resulting in doubling your money. So it can make profits, but it's not super easy to pull off. And then we get to low effort, high yield, the sweet spot. With this video, we're going to cover business sponsors and just how easy it can be and how massive your profits can be. Let's start by clarifying what UCR's role is when it comes to your org arranging these sponsorships. UCR is not actively involved, so any agreement that you make with a business is strictly between them and you. You don't need to report back to us on any of the deals that you make, and we don't need to approve any of these deals. This means that if you break the agreement, you don't follow through with what you promised, it's entirely on you. So make sure you understand exactly what the sponsorship deal entails. Now we're going to go step by step and show you how to work this all out. Step 1 is figuring out what your club can offer to a business. What would they want from you? Some examples that might be attractive to a business includes social media posts, assuming that you have a decent following, putting logos on t-shirts, and putting logos on handouts and flyers. If you're talking to a restaurant or something, maybe they'd want you to bring people in, so you can negotiate a certain amount of events or socials that you'd host at a business. If they pay $300 for a sponsorship, they might make more than that from all the people that you bring in. If you plan large events, you can hang the company's logo on the walls or behind the big keynote speaker. The business you're talking to will want to know specifics. So think about how many flyers you might give out, how many t-shirts can you give out for people to wear, how many times will you post on social media. Now we move on to brainstorming what businesses you'll approach. The easiest way to narrow this down is to think about businesses that align with your values or mission. If you're an outdoor hiking club, maybe seek out companies that create hiking gear. If you're a religious group, look for businesses that share your values. This tactic doesn't always work, so you might need to zoom out and just look at any local business. What businesses near campus would be interested? But you know what? There are businesses that are not local that might be interested too. A city that is maybe 30 minutes away might still see value in advertising to the entire campus population. You can also think about if your club has any pre-established connections. Is there a restaurant that you already use regularly for fundraisers and you know the management? Does anyone in your group work at a business or have a family member that works somewhere that can serve as an in for you? Consider your approach as to whether you're seeking whales or minnows. A whale is a huge corporation with deep pockets, and you'll likely only need one or a few to fully fund your organization. Minnows would be small ma and pa places that you might need 6 or 7 businesses that each pay a much smaller amount. These whales can equal much more money, but it's likely more difficult to secure a sponsorship. Talking to a local franchise means you might get sent up to a regional office, or you might have to submit a proposal to their national headquarters. It can be a much longer process. With a minnow, you likely have direct access to the owner. So if you work out a deal, they can write you a check on the spot if they felt so inclined. But they don't have the resources of a giant business. Lastly, when thinking about geography, remember that businesses near campus have likely already been approached, so they might be tapped out. So consider zooming out a bit and looking at businesses maybe a little bit further away. Now that you know who you might be approaching, your next step is to create a one sheet, meaning one page that describes everything you're trying to do. Outline who you are, what your club is about, how many people are part of it. If your club is relatively small, maybe instead say what sort of reach you have. How many students go to your events, or how many you might interact with while tabling, for example. Then your letter will break down the specifics of what you can offer to a business, going back to that list of ideas we talked about earlier. Be specific in terms of quantities. Tell them what the sponsorship is for. Are you raising money for one event to pay for something like a guest speaker? Or are you raising money just to support your club for the entire year? Tell them. And then you'll go into what you're asking for. If you have options, include tier packages. For $100, they might get X, Y, and Z. For $500, they get everything. And make sure to include contact info for your club so they can ask questions and follow up. Now, the main purpose of this one sheet is to clearly explain your position, but also in case you walk into a business and there's only a cashier there, for example. You can leave this letter, and the manager or owner can take a look at it later and get the full picture of what you're offering. Let's run through an example. I'm with the chess club, so I explain who we are and outline that we have 40 members on an active basis. We're going to be creating 80 t-shirts to give away at our tournament to anyone who attends. Each shirt will have your logo on it, the size based on how many sponsors we receive. We're also creating 400 flyers and posters to include your logo as well. On large banners at the event, we'll also put up your business logo. At the tournament, we'll also allow businesses to table on the side of the room and tell people what they do. Once a week on all social media platforms, we'll also promote your business. If your business is a restaurant, we'll host 2 socials at the restaurant this quarter. This whole package is $250 and will be offered to multiple businesses, so it's not a singular sponsorship. If you want, for $100, we can put your logo on flyers and invite you to table the day of the tournament. Now that you have your pitch down, it's time to actually approach businesses. Pick a small team of people who might be willing to do this outreach. These people should be charismatic and positive. Think about who might make the best salespeople, and make sure they understand this proposal inside and out. You don't want them agreeing to something that your org can't do, or you don't want them negotiating your $500 sponsorship down to $50. Assign the businesses either based on interest or where your members are located. When you talk to a business, don't mislead them about tax information. They might ask if you are a non-profit organization. Sure, maybe your group doesn't make a profit, but very few student orgs are actual non-profit organizations through the IRS. This is a hefty and expensive process to become one, so most orgs don't do it. If you are tied to a national or a larger umbrella organization, you can ask if they are a registered nonprofit and if chapters under them get that status as well. You will be in hot water if you tell a business that you are a nonprofit and then they find out later that they can't deduct this sponsorship from their taxes. You'll do an initial wave, hitting all these businesses up, and then you'll do a follow-up later to see if they'd like to move forward. Let's say that at least one of these was successful, so you now end up with a check made out to your club's name, and you'll need to deposit it into your bank account. If you don't have a bank account, we've got another handy tutorial for how to do this, so look for that video next or down in the description. Lastly, you'll keep track of everything you promised and how you're making progress. Send updates to the businesses such as photos and proof that you're doing what you said you would. On social media, make sure you're tagging or referencing the companies as well. All of this helps maintain a positive relationship between your club and the business, so that if you want to renew or do the sponsorship again, it's all very easy. You got paid, they saw all the benefits. This means your fundraising process for next year is incredibly easy. It might be some work this year to start all of this, but it'll set your group up for success in the future. If you have any questions or want to meet with one of our club advisors to discuss this, our contact info is on the screen, and we look forward to talking with you. Hopefully you found this interesting. Make sure to check out our other online trainings for all sorts of ways to improve your student organization.